Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining wherever you're joining from. Great to have everybody here. Always nice to see where you're joining from. Welcome to another week. I'm back. I'm only, hopefully not jet lagged. We will find out soon enough. So we're going to just get things going. Reminder, if you have any questions, then make sure you start your message with the letter Q so that it puts it into my little questions column on the screen here. Otherwise, we're going to just start rambling about who knows what, which is always fun. I wonder why that is oily on my desk. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, it's been a week. I had all my gear in here shut down for the week because I was nowhere nearby. I've been in Reykjavik in Iceland for the week. Left on Monday, got back last night, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to manage to stay up and have a normal day today and not have any jet lag. We will see. I managed to sleep all night, so that's the first step. That's my trick for jet lag, is just try to, as quickly as possible, get onto local time, and we'll see how it goes. Did I have time to upgrade my Pocket 3? No, I did not. I don't even, what was the update? I don't even remember. My head's been in a completely different space for the week. What's new in the Pocket 3? I did manage to film a video before I left, and it is, unfortunately, I can't post it yet, but it's going to come out tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Let me double check. Then I'll get the time zone right. It is tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. It's a good one. Yes. Okay. What's going on in the chat? Quiet day in the chat today, but thanks everybody for joining. Yeah, I was in Iceland, but I didn't even like really get out of town. The weather was pretty terrible the whole time. A couple of snowstorms, and when I landed, it was just like everything was just covered in snow, actively snowing, and took the bus to the city, to downtown, which was nice. But yeah, a couple of people wanted to go, or the event was organizing a Northern Lights tour, but then the tour company actually canceled the tour because it was too cloudy and snowy. So that did not happen. And yeah, so it's okay. I've still got my trip from, it feels like not that long ago that I was there, but it was actually 3 years ago, in 2022. And that one I got a good chance to go see some of the waterfalls and the scenery, and the weather was much better. PVE says, question, can I somehow take the HDMI out of my camera, bring it into my iPad with USB-C connector? What special devices would be needed? So yes, with the caveat that it depends very much on what you're trying to actually do with it. So there's a couple different ways to do it there, but it really depends on what your goal is. Are you trying to just monitor your camera with a large screen? Are you trying to live stream with it? So if you're just trying to monitor your camera, then there's actually, do I have it? No, it's not in that. Oh, there it is. So there is a device from Axoon. It's called Axoon Simo, and it looks like this. You can clip your phone into it. It's made for a phone, but you could use it with an iPad too. Anyway, this has HDMI in, USB out, and then you run their app, and then it's like a monitoring app, and that's one way to do it. The new iPad OS, I think one or two versions ago, has UVC webcam support now. So if the app that you're using supports the new APIs, you can use external regular capture cards, just whatever cheap capture card, to bring in video into your iPad app that way. But it 100% depends on the app to have done the update to make that work. So it's not just like magically working everywhere. So it totally depends on what you're trying to do. Keen says, do they have nice weather in Iceland? Sometimes it's gorgeous. Sometimes it's terrible. So it was really, we really got a whole range while we were there. It like full on like blizzard, whiteout, snow, dropped like 3 inches of snow in like an hour. Then the next day it was like sunny and gorgeous. And then the day after it was like raining, like Portland. So yeah, it was all over the place. Nadim says, I'm sending 4 cameras to the ATEM Mini Pro, and I have the 2 other cameras in my Mac through Elgato capture card. I need a way to control all of them one device out of the ATEM. Is there a way to control all of them in one device? So you have 4 cameras in your ATEM, and then you have 2 more cameras through a capture card. No, not really. So as far as your computer is concerned, you have 3 webcams, right? So you have your ATEM and you have your 2 cameras through the capture card. So your computer doesn't know about the cameras behind the ATEM, and the ATEM doesn't know about anything else connected to your computer. So there's not really a way to control all of them together. You might be able to do something if you are using Companion or the actual Stream Deck software with some Companion buttons in it, just to give yourself a control surface to control the webcams with some buttons or whatever streaming software you're using on your computer. But there's nothing like built in that's going to make all that work together. Keith says, check out the new iPad app Camo Camera. Never heard of it. What is this? Let's see what this is. Looks like, it supports any of the external cameras. What does it, is it just a recording app with overlays, effects? I'm trying to figure out what is the output of this. Oh, so it turns your iPad into a virtual camera for your Mac. Okay, cool. Interesting. That looks really interesting. Keith says you can now plug in a webcam, and I tested it Friday. Insta360 Link 1 and 2 and Facecam and Logitech all using the new app. That's very cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. 3 a.m. in Australia, and I'm late. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining. It is late there. Or early, depending on how you count. Matt says Pocket 3 added medium telemode, D-Log M 10-bit color in webcam mode. Oh, cool. And breathing compensation feature. Oh, that's good, because I have had that. Have noticed that. That's great. That's super helpful. That sounds like a good, like, relatively minor but useful updates for people instead of like trying to be too flashy, which is good. Axis says, have you used the YoloBox Extreme yet? Just in some very quick tests to boot it up and log in and stuff and update the firmware. I'm still waiting for them to do like a proper release firmware so that I don't do a video about too much stuff that's in beta. But it is a beast. It is a monster. Speaking of, NX3D says, and this is a good question for all of you here, does the YoloBox Extreme need a cage? We are developing a desktop stand. Wanted to ask your opinion. That is a good question. I don't know if you actually have it in person yet or just the specs for it, but it is heavy. It is a, I wonder, I have a scale around here somewhere. It's heavy. Should it have a cage? Let's see. So oh yeah, it has an external antenna port on the side too. If you can get the little rubber thing open. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's really well in there, which is good because that's one of those really fragile antenna style things. So it's got antenna there, plenty of room on the bottom, and all the ports are on the one side. So would it work well on a cage? At least all the ports are up there. Yeah, even power. Would I expect somebody to mount this on a... It's so heavy. It's so heavy. It is... I'm on the fence about a cage. A stand makes a lot of sense because, again, we've got like this on the bottom, so you don't want to lay it flat. Plus, the angle is just nicer to use if it's at the right stand angle. Let's see, do I have a... Yeah. Here's the NX3D Director Mini. So if it's at that angle, that's much nicer to use than flat. The thing about a cage is I would honestly be worried it would be too heavy for most tripods. And like, you definitely are not going to put this on top of a camera. It's too heavy for that. It would, yeah, not going to go on top of a camera. So I think I'm on the fence. I'm curious about anybody else's thoughts about it. I think this is, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced about putting it in a cage. It's so heavy it needs a rolling rack. Yeah. It's like 5 iPad minis stacked together. It's actually... Okay, here, just for an example, let me get my iPad out. Here's the YoloBox. Here is an iPad Pro. It is about the size of the iPad Pro. So here's, it's, the iPad is slightly taller by about like half an inch, centimeter or so. The iPad is slightly shorter this direction by about a centimeter. And the thickness is ridiculous. Don't know how I can accurately, yeah. Oh, I'm missing my side light. Oops. I was filming something over there the other day. Yeah, so it's like, it's iPad Pro size, really. Metal cage, I would, I mean, the 3D printed cages can be very strong. Like the ones that they've been doing are very strong, and I don't doubt the strength of the ability to hold it. But what I am worried about is how much the mounting point. So like how much stress is on the mounting point of the tripod, or just it's going to want to tip things over if it's standing up like that. So yeah, it's cage to a sturdy tripod, maybe. Yeah, it would have to be like a massive tripod. So many HDMI, yes, it is. It is. Iceland is green and Greenland is icy, right? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's a lot of greens, a lot of green stuff on Iceland, and not a lot of green things in Greenland. Should have probably been swapped around. Matt says, the thing I like about getting the Pocket 3 update is I think there's no Pocket 4 coming to steal from my wallet. Yeah. Seems like it's on the verge of needing a Visa mount. Actually, I would feel a lot more comfortable mounting this on a Visa arm versus in a cage. Yeah. It is essentially a small monitor at this point. The Director Mini is a lifesaver. I couldn't imagine having something that big on my setup. Yes, I mean, this is no longer a, portable, stick it in your backpack kind of thing. It's more like an ATEM Mini Extreme, where I'm not going to put the ATEM Mini Extreme in a backpack and expect to do a quick live stream on it. Nick says, anybody have ideas on mounting the M4 Mac Mini in a rack with easier access to the power button? So the trick I've seen with that is you just turn it upside down, and then the power button's on top, and nothing else really matters. So kind of silly, but it works. I don't have one, so I don't know, but that's what I've heard people do. Reminds me of a laptop circa 1995. Yeah, actually. Michael says, do you no longer use the ATEM Mini? Well, sort of. So actually, right now, the thing that's pushing the stream to YouTube right now is you can see the multi-view of the ATEM Mini in my teleprompter right now. The ATEM Mini is down on the rack, but all it's really doing is doing the RTMP, or now SRT, actually stream to YouTube. So it has HDMI of my big ATEM coming into it. And then I do have the ability to switch other cameras on that ATEM, but it's really more just like that's more of like a backup. I'm not switching the show on that ATEM. So I'm using it mostly as an encoder, but it's also, it's one extra layer of redundancy, because if, for example, I needed to reboot my big ATEM, which has happened occasionally, not very often, because I can switch what's going into this ATEM that's doing the stream. I can switch that to something else, like a graphic or a different input, not from the ATEM, and keep things going. So it's just, so I'm still using it for that, but I'm not switching the show on the ATEM Mini. I am switching my show on the big ATEM, the Constellation 4ME, just because I have so many things connected into it, in and out, various ways. But that's what I'm normally using for most of the things now. And then when I'm doing portable streams, like traveling or whatever, I have not been using the ATEM Mini, because the other devices are give me other abilities. So, for example, the RØDECaster Video is the size of the ATEM Mini Pro, but has a lot more features, including wireless audio links and the layout features that the ATEM Mini Pro doesn't have. So I've been using it for I've been using that, and then the other one is, of course, the Director Mini for if I'm going somewhere on the road. This thing has been super useful because of because of how tiny it is, but also how much non-cabled video input and output it can do. So a phone camera wirelessly, or an NDI camera, or even like RTMP into this thing from something else. So it's just really it's really cool. It just does a lot of cool things. So yeah, I mean, it kind of gets back to the idea that the philosophy that's always been there with the ATEMs is that the ATEM Mini is one part of a setup, and the ATEM Mini Pro and Extreme have put a lot more things into the ATEMs compared to the rack mount ATEMs that have no recording, no streaming, but it's still like there's no video playback on the ATEM Minis, so it's still meant to be one part of a larger setup, which is good in some cases and not so good in other cases. So yeah. The Australian solution. Oh, for the M4 Mac Mini, turning it upside down. Yeah. The form factor of the cables coming out the top seems like a hassle if it's past that throw in the backpack threshold. I mean, I could throw it in a backpack to bring it to somewhere and then set up the show there. But definitely would want a desktop stand to tip it at an angle for that, for sure. Pat says, with the Constellation 4ME and the X32 rack, do you just have the MADI cables connecting them, or also running an XLR 1/4 inch? No, it's just the MADI connections. So the idea, I have an XLR coming into the X32, but it's my microphone. But everything else is just the SDI cable for the MADI link. The ATEM Mini Extreme to this day seems to be the sweet spot for all-in-one, do everything in many ways. Especially for non-portable use. Yeah, so Lily's show is still running on the ATEM Mini Extreme because of that exact thing. Like, it's sitting up in a rack. I have a video about her whole setup because I'm probably going to change it soon. Let me find the link here. What was it? Is it a studio tour? No, it is. It is. There it is. So this is the studio tour of Lily's setup upstairs, which is all sitting in a small little rack. It's not a rack. It's a, what is it called? It's a cart. That's the word I'm looking for. The cart, there it is. And so everything is sitting in this cart, and the ATEM Mini Extreme weirdly fits exactly perfectly in there on the stand, which is great because then the ports don't get, the ports are accessible instead of like, there's a little lip, so they're not blocked by that lip. So this is what she's running her show from all the time now. The two main things that are that make this not like the perfect solution is the audio and the video playback. So in order to get audio in, I have an XLR audio interface down here to bring a mic in. And then for video playback, there's a hyperdeck down here. And it's just for a couple of clips that are used for the show, like the countdown timer and like a couple little animations. But I need those in there in order to have those because the ATEM Mini Extreme doesn't have anything like that. So I have been thinking about swapping this over to the RØDECaster video. And it will remove the need for the XLR audio interface and remove the need for the video for the hyperdeck. And the other big thing is the layouts. So the how do I explain this? So let me get, well, I can kind of show it to you with this show. So, or do I have a way to, I really should get a way to pull her ATEM video feed down here quicker. Once I get the IP2110 link point to point set up, it'll be a lot easier. But the layouts. So in order to do a layout in the ATEM, there's two options. If you have the ATEM Mini Extreme, you can use the super source. Super source is what lets you do this kind of thing where it's you have a background layer and then you have 4 boxes that you can shrink and crop and position anywhere on the screen. So I can move this around. I can move box 2, which is my camera. I can move that up and down. And you can see I'm doing this in the software control here, right? So I can move this up and down. And this gets saved as what is effectively a new video source in the ATEM. So it's always there and I can always cut to it. So I can, for example, see it on my multi-view. As it's right there, I can see it, it's ready to go. And I know if I cut to super source, which is, it's showing up like an input here, right? So I can always jump to that. However, there's only one in the ATEM Mini Extreme. The ATEM for me has 2 super sources, but the smaller ones have only 1. So what that means is if I ever wanted to do a different layout, like a side-by-side with 2 cameras larger, there's no way for me to switch from here to that. Essentially what I have to do is I have to change this super source into the new layout. Now, I do have a lot of buttons to automate that, where I can press a button on companion and it will auto reconfigure the super sources. But you can't really do it when it's live. Let me show you an example. What I can do is, let's see. I can switch this to a super source of my camera and the Apple TV. So actually that wasn't bad. So with the super source, it doesn't have any glitches when it switches. You can see the, I can change the layout between these two, right? And I'm doing this by pushing a button on companion to switch between the two. Essentially it's configuring the super source properties of which camera input is here, which what's the scale, what's the crop, all that, right? So you can make buttons for it to set it up and switch to it, but you can't. There's still only one generator. The other way to do layouts is if you don't have SuperSource because you're on the ATEM Mini Pro, then you have to do it with Upstream keys. And Upstream keys are where things get really glitchy if you're trying to use it for layouts. So the common one for this is like picture in picture. So let me go to this, and then I will actually, no, I'm going to go to my computer screen. I'm going to put my camera as a little picture in picture on top. So I'm going to go to, let's use pattern generator on ME1. We will use a circle generator. I'm going to change this to my main camera, and that's probably too big. So let's turn that on and see what happens. Oh, I'm in the middle. So here we can change. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to change that, move the position of the circle, and then scale it down with the flying key. Okay, so you get the idea, right? This is not saved as a layout. This is saved as this circle. I can turn it on and off with the Upstream key. And now I have 4 Upstream keys in the constellation for me. All the different ATEMs have different numbers of Upstream keys. So you can create these different things. But if I ever wanted to change from this layout to something else, like if I want to go back to my main camera, if I just press my, where is it? If I press, where is my main camera? What? Why don't side gray wall over side? Is it? There it is. Now the circle is stuck there because I didn't have the right button pressed here. I need to turn that on so that when I switch away from, oh geez, right, you can't do it. You can't even do it when you press the button. It has to be when you do the cut button. And I didn't have the right thing in the preview. You can see another example of how ATEM is, you really have to learn how it wants you to think and do it that way, or ignore how it wants you to think, do everything in Companion, which is how I have it set up, where when I push a button, I know what's going to happen. This is all to say that the RØDECaster video doesn't work anything like that, and it's a lot more just like set up your scenes, push a button, and that's what will happen. So it's just much easier to set up and use and explain how it works. And you can have multiple of these scenes set up at a time, and now you can assign audio channels to different scenes, so you can make scenes with like different cameras or video clip playback or countdown timers, and it's just a lot easier to manage. So that was all a long way to say, what was the question? It was, somebody asked, do you still use the ATEM? Yeah, there it is. A lot of things the RØDECaster video did that are a lot easier to manage. You can add borders now in SuperSource. Oh boy, I can't actually remember which versions got the SuperSource borders, because all the different ATEMs are slightly different with that. I don't have borders on my Constellation 4ME, but I think you're right. I think the ATEM Mini Extreme did. Matt says, I like the way the ATEM works because I come from broadcast, but as a solo operator, no thanks. This is, I think, exactly the key. Like it is a traditional broadcast model, which makes plenty of sense for a lot of uses and a lot of people. But if you are the one on camera, it can be very awkward to use compared to now the RØDECaster video. I just saw this question. Have you used the new RodeCaster video for live streaming? Do you prefer the ATEM gear? I've already been talking about this, so I hope you got that, David. I have used the RodeCaster video a bit now for things. I've got a couple of streams on the channel I did through the RodeCaster video and a bunch of videos about it. And I use it for a conference. And it is a lot easier to manage in many cases. Giovanni says, do you ever foresee Blackmagic making the underlying ATEM software more accessible or less kludgy? No, I don't. because I think that there is value in having the software work the way that broadcast switchers expect. And a lot of people are trained on that. There's a lot of things you can do with it. If you're very well practiced at using it that way, it's fine. Like it, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I think there's always going to be that market. But I will say, Adam Tao made an app called Mix Effect, which is a lot easier to use and manage the ATEM, even though it still works as a broadcast switcher. Oh yeah, and Emerald says you can live change super sources with animation using Mix Effect, but it requires an iPhone or iPad or Mac. So it also gives you a lot better ways to manage things like super source layouts manually, not even animated, but just creating the super source layouts. So I could see Blackmagic acquiring that app or updating the app to work more like Mix Effect, but I don't see the ATEM itself fundamentally changing. Keith, thank you for the super chat. House Files Rack Redo Coffee Fund. Yeah, maybe if I do rebuild it, I will do it on a live stream, which will be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a good plan. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether I should bother redoing the rack here for the apartment upstairs, or after we setting it up in the new office. So not quite sure. Maybe sooner rather than later, just cause, but I don't know. David says, thanks, appreciate the response. RØDECaster video arrives next week. Check out your live stream about it. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of videos about it, so definitely do check out, just search my channel for RØDECaster. There should be a playlist with a bunch of the videos as well. And then if you want to just like watch one of these live streams done through the RØDECaster video, I have a couple of those as well. And I should do some more now too, because now that the new audio feature came out, it's just a lot even easier. Oh, Adam is here. Hello, hello. Audio routing and SuperSource box borders coming to the next version of Mix Effect. Great. Ooh, audio routing is excellent because I'm gonna have to do that because the ATEM Constellation got the audio routing feature, but it's a mess to actually use because there's no UI for it, but it's in the switcher. So now I'll be able to do it without editing XML, which will be fun. The main thing I'm interested in about the audio routing is for the HyperDeck recordings. So when I'm using these HyperDecks for stuff, whether it's recording videos or doing the tape dump project or whatever it is, I'm very much looking forward to being able to route the different audio in the ATEM directly into those so that they are not always recording all program feeds. Emerald says, ATEM Mini Extreme Production Studio and Broadcast Studio have borders. I believe Constellation got it in a firmware update. I'm pretty sure my Constellation is up to date and I don't see SuperSource borders in mine. Maybe it was just not on the forum yet. Keith has 1 vote for waiting for the new office. Here, let's do a poll. I can do a poll in the chat. Should I rebuild Lily's studio with a RØDECaster video before we move or after we move into the new space? Oops. Before we move or after. And I'm going to change this to before and after. Start the poll. All right, now you can all vote. We'll let that go for a little while. Constellation HD and 4K got borders in 962. Really? Why am I out? Am I really? Let me check what version I'm on. I have 963 is what my software is. Let's get the ATEM setup up. SuperSource borders is very different on the older switchers compared to the new SuperSource box on the Constellation HD 4K and TV Studio HD and 4K. Well, am I really out of date? Let's find out. Didn't prompt me to update. I am using 962. So and the software that's installed is 963. So that update didn't apply to the. So yeah, I don't know why. Am I just missing something? I don't have. I have boxes, I have crops, but I don't see anything with borders. I don't know what to tell you. 962 adds SuperSource borders. I don't see it. I don't know why. Let's look at the Blackmagic site. This sometimes will explain it. Support ATEM 96. Let's look at 962. Following models have new features. 4Me Constellation HD should have audio output mapping, which I have tried. It says it adds SuperSource borders. And that's the one I have. Is there a setting to turn it on? Sometimes some of these are in here. Mapping, general. I don't. Upstream key. I'm confused. I don't know. It says it's supposed to be here. Art tab. Well, that's not where I was expecting it. Oh, look at that. Borders. So I can't apply it. I was expecting to be a setting per box. That's why I was looking at the box tab. There it is. I can make SuperSource borders. I don't really understand why. I don't really like SuperSource borders. Inner width. Nope, I don't want to cover up the screen. I guess it's kind of cool. I don't know. I can change the color. Although I think the white probably makes the most sense for mine. Or black. No, white makes the most sense. I don't know. I don't really like it. But, okay, thanks. I didn't know that's where that was. The SuperSource box borders can be set on an individual box basis, but the R tab adjusts the same borders for all boxes. So, yeah, it's weird. I don't see... I don't see it on individual boxes. Or do I have to turn them on first? Enable box. Art. Border. Oh, what's this soften? I wonder why I don't have that option. I wonder which ones do. There's no interface in the ATEM similar to the audio routing. Okay, cool. Well, another good reason to use Mix Effect. You'll be able to control your SuperSource boxes per box. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the weekly inspiration to create with electronic Legos. Have learned so much. I'm so glad. I am so glad. I appreciate it. Daniel has a question. What would you recommend to record ISO recordings? 2 HDMI, 2 SDI, and if possible, compose scenes, RØDECaster or ATEM Extreme ISO. The ATEM Extreme, the ATEM Mini Extreme does not record the composed scenes as an ISO file by default. So if you wanted to if you wanted to record like the super source in your ATEM Mini Extreme, you would need to take one of the outputs and loop it back into one of the inputs, and then you can record it that way. The RØDECaster video also does not. So same deal. Of course, they'll both record it if it's in the program. If you have two HDMI, two SDI, then you're already going to have converters for both, because there still is no new ATEM with combo HDMI SDI. So the next question is, are you only doing ISO recording, or are you also doing switching? Because, and how complicated are the scenes? Because I feel like the ATEM depends on your scene complexity, but the ATEM Mini Pro SDI. Oh no, because you would need to loop one back if you want to record the scene. So yeah, the Extreme. So they're the same price. ATEM Extreme ISO with, if you get the SDI one, you have more outputs, so you don't lose your ability to, you can still have multiple things you're doing with the outputs other than looping one back in. So I guess the way I would think of it is, if all you're doing is you're treating this as an ISO recorder, I would go with the ATEM Extreme. If you're using it also as a switcher and live stream and doing layouts and doing that kind of stuff, then I would go with the RØDECaster, because it's just easier to manage that stuff. Did RodeCaster address the lack of an XML file accompanying each ISO recording? No, they haven't added that yet. So yeah. Borders can be useful. Borders are very useful if there isn't enough contrast between the cameras and the background. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Keith says, "It's my favorite part of your show, your honest response to new live discoveries." Thanks. Yeah. They want to make it simple. Fair. You need to add a member key for look at chat. That's actually a really good idea. I should make a little light somewhere in the corner of my vision that blinks if people push the button. IT Never Gets Old says, the GoStream Duet with the combo HDMI and SDI is flexible. I wish I could ISO record. I know. I wish if they make a GoStream Duet with ISO recording, then that's gonna like hands down kill the ATEM Mini Pro 100% at that point. That's like the only reason to get the ATEM Mini Pro right now is for the cheapest 4-channel ISO recorder. Line cut and safety wide is enough for chords on most of my streams. Yeah, I mean, it totally depends on what your purpose is for the ISO recordings. Okay, let me scroll back up. I think I missed something. Oh, Matt says, I like my setup. RØDECaster Pro 2 plus YoloBox Ultra. It handles the 3 HDMI cameras, 1 iPad, 1 NDI tail air, and a Pocket 3. No other setup can do that as easily, including the RØDECaster video. Oh yeah, no Pocket 3 support in the RØDECaster video. That's a good combo. That's a good combo. Gwen says, Apple usually has great design, but there's always that one weird decision, like the M4 Mac Mini power button location, USB port on the bottom of the mouse. It is so weird. I really wonder how that happens. Max says, on the ATEM, I've seen people finagle up to 10 outputs on the ATEM. How many do you think you could get? 10? I'm not quite sure what the question is. Is this on the Director Mini or the ATEM? Yeah, the 4 outputs on the ATEM Extreme SDI is really, really useful. I agree. I need my Director Mini fix. When will Magewell release the version 3 update? I thought version 3 was out, but there was a 3 point something that's not out. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure version 3, yeah, version 3 is out. Um, and that already added a bunch of good stuff, but the oh yeah, I haven't actually played around with this, but alpha channel through NDI is useful. And then the other cool thing is you can add web pages as a video source, not just an overlay anymore, which is really useful. But there's a couple updates coming. The next update to version 3, I forget if it's 3 point, let's see, 3.1, which are going to be useful. So I will have a video about that as soon as they post it. Bowles promo says, my Director Mini arrives this week. New instant replay machine. Oh, cool. I'm very curious to hear how that works for you. I don't have any legitimate excuses to try out replay workflows for real. All of my replay workflows, all my replay tests are just like tests in the studio with not useful footage. Where was I? Matt says the YoloBox Extreme is 3.3 pounds. I mounted more than that before. Okay. I don't know. It feels like YoloBox Chunky Boy Edition. That's really funny. Yeah, so in the Director Mini, since I have this here, oops, let's make the screen a little brighter so we don't. This is one of the new things they did in version 3, where I have 2 HDMIs, but then also my map is now I have the same thing going to both. That's funny. My map is now an actual video source I can cut to, which is very cool, rather than just as an overlay. Livestream Entertainment says, heads up, the audio and video ports on the RØDECaster video are very touchy. Unplugging and reconnecting an active cable will cause a looping glitch that only a full restart can fix. I've never had that happen. I'm very curious what's going on. You should probably write to their support, because I have absolutely unplugged things while it's been live and not had that happen. Is there any difference between the Director Mini and the OBSBot version? Yes, it's in software. It's software differences, and like I need to turn mine on. Should I go get it? The version 3 hadn't come to the OBSBot version yet. Last time I booted it up. And then also theoretically, the OBSBot version has better integration to the OBSBot cameras. Livestream Entertainment says, I have spoken to them and they've recreated the issue. Oh, wow. Okay. That's super weird because I haven't had that happen. I wonder what's special about it. Could be something special about the type of signal you're sending it. Yeah. David says, I have the ATEM Mini and the YoloBox Mini. Right now I have the YoloBox Mini in a cage and it's screwed into a quarter on a clamp vise clipped onto the ThinkStation P512. ThinkStation P. Is that a laptop? Oh, it's like a brick. It's like a box computer. Is there an all-in-one? ATEM Mini and YoloBox Mini. All-in-one what? All-in-one combo of all the devices? I mean, if you're using a tower computer, you could always add in PCI cards for giving you HDMI and SDI inputs and outputs, and then do everything in software, like vMix. Philip says, is there any way to use stingers with the RODECaster video? If not, do you think it might come? I have a feeling that's going to come to the RODECaster video. I don't have any confirmation of that, but I do suspect that is something they would want to do. Let's switch this up. Back out this camera a bit. where's my power for this guy? These cables are just a little bit too short. 1, 2. Oh, and I got my longer ones there. I should probably get the longer ones out for the other two also. 4. Give that a little go. Where is this? Network. Don't know if you can hear the fan blast when it starts powering up. There we go. That should let us do something. Oh, I need the output from this also, so we can see what we're doing. So, get my outputs routed properly. Main camera, overhead, side, and let's say that one. So now I can go into the RØDECaster video. So yeah, there's the scene. Scene A, for example, is it's not a very good scene, but that's created as a layout, and then you can just create 7 scenes across the top, and then they're always there, always ready to be switched to, which is very cool. And now they've got the audio mapping per scene. You can see that audio channels are muting when I go into that scene. I think this was supposed to be the, I forget what it was for. What was I doing? I was looking for stingers. So if I go into the, Rode Central, let's put that on a screen over here. So let's see, where would I expect it to be? Oh, I've got my silly super source borders on. I don't like those. I'm going to turn those off. Where would I expect that to be? So in the auto transition, this is the scene, or this is the transition settings right now. So we've got like the classic wipes, different style wipes. So like that, or so this is where I would expect to see it. Stinger option down here, and then let's see, we've got videos loaded, so I would need to load in a video to use as a stinger, put it here, choose it, and it would need to be in the media pool. So in the media pool, it would take up one of the slots. It seems doable. I feel like it's doable. I feel like it would, it seems like everything is already lined up for them to do that. So I think it's not a huge addition. Gwen says it still gets me that the RØDECaster thumbnail multi-view previews don't play back smooth. It's weird. Yes, I agree. So the top box up here is real time, but then these little boxes down at the bottom do not update in real time. They are like, the camera ones are like, I don't know, 5 frames a second or something, and then the scenes are like 1 frame a second. It's a little weird. You just get used to it. It doesn't bother me anymore. It was jarring at first, but they just did it to save CPU, I guess. So, yeah. Keith says, "Are you not going to keep your current studio when the house is done?" No. So the this has all been part of the long plan. Is the I built this space long before the plan to well, I had planned on building a house there, but I planned on building a 2nd floor apartment onto the house. So I turned this into, I was like, this is going to be my studio space. And then that house project turned into building 3 units in place of the 1 house. But originally it was going to be the office in the new house was going to be a shared office for Lily and I's like work, not doing video, just side by side desks. And then this was going to be a shared video studio. And then after the COVID lockdowns of everyone's working from home all the time, and I had to do all my trainings online, I kind of turned this space into like, okay, well, this I'm just going to take over this space because there's nothing else we're going to do with it right now anyway. And then eventually, once we started getting further along with the house design and the fact that we had both been working at home, and it just having two people working from home from the same like 8 by 10 foot room is just crowded. Awkward when you have one person on calls all day and blah, blah, blah. Right. So at that point I was like, well, it's not a good idea to share that space. So she's going to get the new office in the house, and I'm going to keep this room as my office and studio. So I actually have a separate desk over there, which I think you can, does it show up in that? No. Well, you can, the cabinets are the bottom part of the desk back there. Anyway, that's like my computer desk for video calls and that kind of thing. So this is now like, this is just permanent office / studio space for me now. So I'm not getting a room for video in the new house. So I will be here. And that means that part of that was like, okay, well, if I know this is the place that's always gonna be a studio, I can start like setting it up a little bit more permanently. So like doing things like mounting shelves on the wall or making decisions that are like, where I'm not going to be reconfiguring it every year. So. All right. Well, where was I? 56 votes. Oh yeah. Great. Speaking of studio spaces. Oh wow. It's very split. Oh no, it's not split. There we go. After people want to wait until the new space. Okay. I can do it as one space. We've only got 38% who think I should rebuild it before. I agree. It does make sense to just treat it as a separate project. Essentially, it means that the way I would do it is it's just going to be a new studio build, essentially, instead of like a rebuild. So, yeah. How far are you from the house? About 10 feet. Yeah, it's like out that corner. So I'm going to have I need to actually call these guys back. I need to get the crew out here to run a fiber line from this garage out to the new network closet now. And then that's going to be the other part of the space is I'm going to put a 2110 converter in Lily's office and have one here. That way I can send 3 video channels back and forth between the two spaces. Scrolling back through. Matt says, anybody have a good idea for a touchscreen that's 12 to 15 inches that takes USB-C and has 1/4 inch mount ports? Ooh. I'm very curious if anybody else has any ideas because the touchscreens I've seen around that size are like the flat iPad ones. So they don't have 1/4 inch screws in them. IT Never Gets Old says, another thing that's huge about the GoStream Duet is that it's one of the few all-in-one switcher encoder devices you can really use the live switch without relying on a computer to assist. I agree. I agree. It's basically exactly what I want the ATEM Mini to be. David says, I have a Lark M2 combo. How do you suggest I connect it to my RØDECaster video when it arrives? I'm very new to all of this. I'm looking for the most straightforward solution, and I need to use a wireless mic. Lark M2. If I remember correctly, this is the tiny one, right? Combo is the. Oh, does the combo mean it has all the receivers? So the camera one. Here's what I would recommend: is use the camera receiver and run that into one of your cameras. And the reason I say that is because that makes sure that the audio is in sync with your video. So if you run the mic into the camera and then the camera goes into the RØDECaster, it means your audio is already in sync by the time it hits the RØDECaster. If you run this into the RODECaster, you'll need to delay your audio to match the delay of your camera, which is not that hard to find, but you need to do the test to find the delay of your video output. So run that into the camera with your main, your main shot, and then you don't have to worry about it. The other thing I will say is the Rode Wireless Pro and Wireless Go, the newest versions of those Rode wireless microphones, pair directly to the RODECaster video wirelessly, which is super, super cool. So if you go into the, do I have it set up? So if you turn on, oh, I need to turn off one of those. If you turn on the wireless channel, then you can go and you can actually go and pair a wireless microphone with the RODECaster directly. You still need to add the delay to match then, but it's one less wire to run, and I kind of like it. Like there's no, and one less battery. So the receiver is built into the RODECaster video rather than having a separate receiver. So that's also a super cool trick. Is there a way to get free multicam ISO recordings of sports to practice replays, 3 to 4 angles? I have been wondering the same thing. I've not found anything yet, but the trick is that it's going to totally depend on like what, there's a lot of licensing things around sports broadcasts and sports videos. So probably you would need to find like some small local team to let someone come and record, but then also have the model releases for everyone to be able to rebroadcast it. So that's the thing I'm trying to find. Because yes, I would like to also have this to practice replays, to demo replays. Drone Racing Stream says, I'm looking at getting the Blackmagic 2ME Constellation switcher for later events. What are your thoughts on the switcher? Have you ever used an ATEM before? Would be my first question. The 2ME Constellation is the half-size version of the one that I'm using right now. I have the 4ME. I like it a lot, but it's a lot to learn. Like it can do a lot. It's got a lot of inputs and outputs, which is great. You are going to be entirely in SDI land if you do that. So if you have any HDMI devices, you're going to need a whole bunch of converters, which can be just a real challenge to manage. But it is great. It's solid. You're going to need also all the other stuff that comes along with it, like a device to record like a HyperDeck. You're going to need an ATEM Mini or a web presenter if you're going to do streaming. If you want to record more than one channel, you need multiple HyperDecks. So it's going to just add a bunch of stuff you're going to have to buy on top of that. So just keep that in mind. But it's a solid core of a studio for sure. Philip says, can you suggest any USB capture card which works with the RODECaster video as UVC input? The Ugreen does not work. Yeah, I have one, which is pretty sure actually the Camlink works also, but it's not USB-C, so you need a little adapter. Where did it go? I don't know where it went. The one I was using, it was a super cheap one that has a little HDMI cable off the end. It must be, where is it? That's weird. Oh, I bet it's in the box that I used in the other room. Can't be that far. Let's see if I can find. I guess I got lucky because it was just like, it's like a $15 one. Does this link even still work? Sometimes with these products, they just get the image on Amazon is backwards. But yes, I found it. I'll send the link to the chat. This is the one that I got that does work. I hope it's the same listing. Now, sometimes these little weird no-name brand ones change out the actual product that is sold, and you can see the picture is mirror image for some reason. So I have no idea why, but this is the one that I have that I got lucky and it works. So and it's $15, so that's good. And if it doesn't work, just return it on Amazon because they will be happy to do that. Gwen says there may still be some latency even if you plug in the Lark M2 mic into the camera. I don't know about Lark, but the DJI Mic 1 has a frame or two of latency during transmission. A frame, really? That's a lot. I feel like I don't remember actually trying the DJI Mic 1. You may have to adjust it by a frame. That would be a lot for a wireless mic, in my opinion, though. So I don't know about the Lark M2, but it is worth testing. Oh, right. They do have recommended, they do have tested capture cards on their website. RØDECaster video supported USB webcams. Let's see. I'll drop this link into the chat. This is a good one to keep handy. So here they've actually done a test of which USB devices. Oh, I didn't realize the OBSBot Tiny 2 is on here. That's cool. I thought none of the OBSBots worked. Great. So yeah, Camlink 4K works. I thought the Camlink also works. This is not the 4K. Now I need to double check that. But it doesn't have a USB-C anyway, so it's awkward. Sony ZV-E1, great. So yeah, there you go. Juve Media says, I have a question. Can I have multi-sources in the ATEM Mini Pro ISO? Not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean super source layouts? Like that's sometimes people call them multi-source. It does not have, the ATEM Mini Pro does not have the thing that lets you do this side by side. But you can put one picture on top of another and scale that one down. So you can do this on the ATEM Mini Pro. And I actually do have a video exactly about how to do that, which I can link below. Let me find, where is that? This is about doing it with a circle layout, but the same thing applies to any other. Once you get through this, you'll be able to do any other layout. Drone Racing Stream says, I might be able to help provide some ISO recordings for practicing replay. We record drone racing events which have 6 pilots in the air at a time with start, gate, and takeoff cameras. That would be super cool. That'd be very, very cool. I'm also very curious how you handle all the FAA regulations around this. Because there's nothing preventing you from flying drones near other drones, but definitely a lot of interesting regulations around what happens if there are crashes or, yeah, interesting. Anyway, yes, I would love that. That'd be great. Does that capture device fix ignore HDCP? I have not confirmed that. I have not confirmed that. I did use it to bring in the video feed from the Miracast device, but I think that one doesn't do HDCP anyway. Technobus says we should set up a USB webcam compatible list on your Discord as the AV cans also work. Oh. That's cool. Let's try this. Man, I'm realizing. Also realizing how behind I am on videos that I need to put out. Let's see. Let's get that plugged in over USB and see what happens. It popped up on the NDI feed on my network because that's actually really cool. This little thing has been one of the best. Well, I can't call it a purchase. They sent it over to me, so I owe them a video about it because I've been really impressed by it. So it's on my Wi-Fi, and so all I did was I turned it on, and I also have a Magewell Pro Convert that's in the rack, which is configured to pull its NDI, or actually no, was it even set to NDI? Let me double check what this is set to. This is set to source SRT. So the Magewell Pro Convert in my rack is configured to pull the SRT feed from the camera, which means it is the Pro Convert's always just like waiting for this IP address to show up. So I just turned this thing on. It popped on my Wi-Fi automatically because it was last configured there, and then the video feed just popped up. So here is the video feed from this little camera, and I didn't do anything. I literally just turned it on, and then because everything was already pre-configured, it just worked. And I feel like not a lot of products work that way. A lot of them like make you go through an app to turn things on. Like this is one of my pet peeves with streaming from GoPro or DJI or even the Mevo. You have to always like go into the app and then turn something on in order to get the stream working. But this thing just it auto joined the Wi-Fi. It just popped up. It was great. Okay, so what I was actually trying to do was test. Speaking of apps, now I do have to go into the app. I was trying to test the webcam feature, and if I remember correctly, there is a setting that you have to do in the app. Somebody's walking up the stairs. Oh. Got a bagel delivery. If I remember correctly, I have to go into the app and change the USB from a PoE Ethernet to a webcam. Let's see if I remembered that correctly. And I'm going to share my screen to do this so you can see what I'm doing. Are you really in Greenland? I just saw that pop up. Wow, I'm impressed. I don't know. Have you been here before? Oh, you have been here before. I was just in Iceland. That's why I feel like this is relevant. Very cool. Welcome. How cold is it there right now? Okay, let me get this on the Wi-Fi. There we go. So here is the phone, and here's the camera set up. USB output is set to PoE, so I'm going to change this to UVC. And then, yeah, I think it's going to have to reconnect. But then we're going to see if it can pop up in the RØDECaster video. You are in Greenland. Wow. That's very cool. Well, I enjoyed Iceland. It was cold and snowy. I hope you are enjoying Greenland. It's not popping up. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. It's showing up as a, my colors are all wrong. It's showing up as input 5 over USB. I have my silly little transitions on there still. Let's go to fade. That's super cool that that one works. So yeah, I should make a list in Discord, maybe even on my website. We'll do this again so I can switch my colors. Oh, cool. A couple other questions coming in. Let's see while I do this. There we go. Let's fix the colors. I had this set to manual white balance, but for some reason the white balance setting doesn't persist across reboots. There it goes. Or after switching the mode for some reason. It came up fine when I turned it on first, but when I switched the mode, it like got switched back. That was weird. Yeah, there it is. Now it looks good. He's blue. Yeah, it's gonna be stuck in my head now. Okay, other questions here. Did you do any more testing with high frame rate inputs into the Cosmo C2? No, not yet. I've been out all week, so I haven't had any chance to do anything this week. Verum TV says, what's your brief overview of the OC GoStream duet? Basically, my brief overview is it is exactly what I wanted the ATEM Mini Pro to be. They've smoothed out all of the and fixed and added features that are not in the ATEM Mini Pro that I really wanted in it. I have videos about this on the channel though, so I'm going to link, see if I can find, yeah, here's the complete overview video. Here is the complete overview. That's not my TLDR is it's great. If you should get one. My complete overview video is that link I just dropped. Where was I? Ben Tech Pro says, I always get in trouble in the ATEM Mini Pro to get PowerPoint presentations from clients' laptops. Is there a solution? Sometimes switch off presenter mode solves the problem and sometimes not. Are they bringing their own laptops? Because that's just a classic problem of any dealing with any video switcher. The best solution to this is getting it's called a decimator. Let's see if I can find that link. The decimator is this one. This little box. What you do is you stick this at the podium of the where people are plugging their laptops, and they plug their laptops into this box, and then this sends either HDMI out or SDI out, depending on how long your cables need to be, into your switcher. So your switcher sees a what's the word? Consistent. Jet lag is kicking in. Consistent signal, and that way it's always seeing the one like proper frame rate, proper resolution, and then your computer is talking to the decimator, and your computer will adjust its output to match the decimator, and then the conversion happens there, and then you get a consistent signal out. That I would pretty much always recommend using a decimator if you are dealing with other people's computers. If you're only ever plugging in your own computers into your own video switcher, you can like test it ahead of time, make sure it's going to work, and get your settings or whatever. But if you ever have other people plugging stuff in, get a decimator. It is absolutely worth it. John says another solution is to get an OC or an AV matrix, which are more rock solid regarding computer input. Yeah, also a good point. If you, I like the decimator because it's just like it does nothing else. But yes, the OC GoStream is surprisingly good at dealing with random stuff being thrown at it too. I feel like Decimator needs a metal theme song. We could probably get AI to do one. Noah says, can you give a brief overview of how to incorporate a Zoom video interview using the Rode RODECaster video? Brief, no. This requires a very thorough and well thought out description in order to get this to work. The one huge advantage you have with the RODECaster video compared to doing this with other switchers is the audio processing in the RODECaster video. So what I mean by that is, and I'll go back to my to here, the audio mixer in the RODECaster video is your friend here, because the key thing that makes this always hard is the audio routing back into Zoom. So if you have a Zoom remote guest, you need to send your audio and whatever else is happening in the stream to them, but you don't want to send their audio back to them. Zoom actually does a pretty good job of noise cancellation, but it's going to mess up how everything sounds. So don't do that. So the key thing to make it work is you plug in the RODECaster video over USB to your computer. In your USB audio mix, it actually defaults this, so it probably will just work, but make sure that you have this set to mix minus. And then what it means is that whatever your computer is sending over the USB into the RODECaster does not get sent back over USB. So right now you can see that my microphone in the room is being sent into HDMI 1. If I had a Zoom guest, their audio will be coming in through USB 1, and then the audio that goes back into Zoom will not include the USB audio from Zoom, so you don't have any issues. And in order to do this with other video switchers, you usually have to use a separate audio mixing interface. And that's why it's super useful in the RODECaster video. So you need that. The other thing is then how you get your video from Zoom into the RODECaster video. The easiest way, but it's not the cleanest way, but the easiest way is to just use, plug in your, like an external, like you were plugging into an external monitor, plug that cable into the RODECaster video, and then your computer will see it as a second monitor. And then you just like full screen, you can pin the guest in Zoom. You can full screen them, the Zoom window, pin them so that they're the only one visible. You might have some stuff around the edges of the Zoom interface, but you could crop that out in the RODECaster video. And the better, more professional way is to use a whole separate device and separate program called Zoom ISO with a little output device that's not a monitor, but it's a video output from your computer. I don't want to go into that right now. That requires a whole explanation, but this would be a great video, and I really, really should do it as soon as I get some more time at home. Decimator is almost always out of stock. Oh no, really? I bought one a very long time ago, probably 2015, and then I bought a second one in like 2020, and I got lucky because I think they were starting to run out of stock around then. Okay, I do have to wrap up relatively soon, so we're going to take a couple more questions before we wrap this up. Captain's Cabin. I like to live stream my sailing trips. That sounds cool. I have a GoPro 12 and an OBS on my MacBook, and also MacBook Air and Windows PC at home. What's the best budget way to hold my stream on with a low bit rate? What's on the boat? Is it the GoPro and MacBook Pro? So one of the things I've found, so there's basically two ways you can go with this. One is you can try to run your entire stream from the sailboat with a remote, like a LTE or 5G connection. If that link goes down, then your stream goes down or glitches. The other way to do it is to stream from home so that you have a solid internet connection, no problems there, and then try to get your boat video stream into your home studio. And that way, if that link goes down, your stream isn't down, and you could have, you can try to set up some auto failover stuff if you want to, but at least your stream won't be spinning, glitching. So for that, you could do things like SRT over the internet into your home. You can do that over a VPN, which I have started to work on that video. I'm trying to write this in a way that's like going to be easy to follow. So trying to do a step-by-step. Almost got that written, so my schedule coming up is absolutely insane, though, so I cannot make any promises about when these videos are going to come out. GoPro and MacBook Pro. I don't think they'll be able to paste a link, but let's see if I can pull up the channel. Are there? I don't see any lives on your YouTube channel, but I do see these recaps. I assume this is you, but I don't see any lives. So that's very cool, though. Emerald has a good idea. Look into Moblin runs on an iPhone or Apple Silicon Mac and do bonding, and you RTMP the GoPro into that. My other suggestion is to start looking at things other than GoPros. They're just not great for that. Like even this, for example, it's about the price of a GoPro, but this has so many more different things you can do with it. USB output into something. So it's like a good webcam. It has optical zoom instead of digital zoom. You can do SRT from this. So if you get this onto your VPN, you could pull the SRT feed into your home studio over the VPN. And just remove the computer from your boat rig entirely. So very lots of good options with that. And the GoPro is just like, you can find a video on my channel called "Don't Use GoPros for Live Streaming," and I get into more of the details about why. But it's essentially just like you're fighting it. So yeah. My boat stream from last year, yeah. So last year I was on a boat in the river here in Portland, doing a multicam live stream. So it was that one I did have a GoPro, and because I didn't have this camera yet, I had a GoPro and the DJI Pocket 3. But since then, a couple of things have happened which I would do differently. One is the DJI Action 5 now has in the latest firmware you can plug in a USB to HDMI dongle the same way that you would a computer and get an HDMI feed out of the Action 5 now. So that is already going to be an improvement over a GoPro. But the second one is this, which definitely going to also has a good battery in it instead of a GoPro battery. So that I would use instead. So I'm gonna do it again this summer for sure at some point, because that was a lot of fun and a good chance to test a lot of this stuff. That was all then going into the Director Mini rather than going into a computer, because I just don't want to bring a computer for that. And that was going into here. And again, between being able to pull in SRT feeds and webcams into this thing, you can do a lot on those kind of portable kits. Walking in LA says, hey there, this is great. So many questions. Thanks for joining. Yeah, lots of stuff to think about for sure. David says, I have 2 YoloBox minis and I can't get them to connect, whereby I can use the other live stream video on the YoloBox software to allow both in the same stream. You should be able to add. So you need to be using, what is it? You have to be using the YoloBox multi-stream service. So there's a setting in there, and I don't have mine turned on now. We're almost done, so I don't want to boot it up. There's a setting in the YoloBox to either do direct streaming or go through YoloLive servers. You need to not use the direct streaming option. So go through the YoloLive servers, and then when you start streaming on that YoloBox, the stream becomes available on your account. And if you go into another YoloBox, you can add a remote stream, and you should then find it. But it doesn't work if you're doing the direct streaming, because it needs to be in YoloLive servers. So that's probably what you're finding. Great Things Studios. Does the RØDECaster video create an XML file for post-production? It does not right now, no. Hopefully they can add that, but it does not at the moment. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this up. It's been 90 minutes. This has been fun. I managed to not be that jet lagged despite being up for like 20 hours yesterday. I woke up at the equivalent of, I think it was like just after midnight my time, and then stayed awake other than a 10-minute nap on the plane until I finally went to bed at 9:30 p.m. Yeah. Oh yes, important. I kind of glossed over this. They have to be logged into the same Yellow Live account as well. That was kind of implied, but yes, good to make that explicit. Walking in LA says, I live stream IRL, usually walks and chats. Can you do an IRL live stream tips and tricks in the future? That'd be a good idea. That'd be a great idea. There's so many useful little things for that. I've done a couple of those from the boat or from my bike, but walking would be a fun one. I haven't even done that. Yeah, that's a fun idea. You should also check out Emerald Audio Video. He has a YouTube channel, does a lot of tips on IRL live streaming as well. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks for the stream. Good luck with the jet lag. 90 minutes gets my vote for a standard issue live stream. I need to go to the farmer's market and find some farm to send us vegetables every week over the summer. So that is my next plan. But otherwise, thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the super chats, and thanks to the Extreme channel supporters, Larry, Kevin, and Marcin. And thanks to all the other channel members for your support. Gonna need that support coming up soon to rebuild Lily's studio with the RØDECaster videos, so it's very much appreciated. All of the super chats and channel members and YouTube ads and affiliate links, that all just goes back into this channel to be able to buy things to test out and set up the studio. So appreciate it very much. We'll be back here same time, same place next week. I am at home this week, but I have so much to do, so I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to even get a new video filmed, but there is a video coming out tomorrow, which I already prepped. Don't miss it. It'll be exciting. And just make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. All right. I gotta go before something happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get on a bike though and bike around in the sun, so that'll help with the jet lag. Okay, this has been fun. See you all next time. Goodbye.